Hi everyone, welcome back. I'll be honest, it's really late. I took my time watching Lincoln back. I have some friends over to partake in the 6 hours of the Glen tomorrow, so it's really late and I have to get up really early, so I didn't want to take too much time to go too in-depth on editing the video, but I feel like the content's still very important. So night number 2 is Speedweek, Lincoln Speedway, Abbottstown, Pennsylvania. One of the big tracks is, around here. It's one of the Saturday programs that do weekly racing, that in Port Royal. So big deal, to go to Lincoln. And night number 2, so obviously night number 1, Lance Dewease won. I was there, that was cool. Night number 2, everybody came back, rolled out. Tracks, one of the smaller tracks in Pennsylvania. I think Grandview's smaller because Grandview's a 3rd mile, I believe, but I think outside of that, it's the smallest track on the schedule, so different. And there's a lot of guys who run specifically at Lincoln, so a lot of cool people, Tim Gladfelter, Kyle Moody runs there, but Kyle Moody runs Williams Grove, just Glendon, Forsyth, like just people who sort of specifically stay to Lincoln. So anyway, hot laps go. Qualifying goes. They separated into flights tonight again, like they did that last night. Brent Marks was fastest in flight 1. Sam Haferteep was fastest in flight 2, and Haferteep obviously has run with the Outlaws. He's good. Brent Marks, rock star. I thought it was interesting to watch Dylan Cisney be competitive. So Dylan Cisney is one of those guys who runs Port Royal. So he doesn't run Lincoln, obviously, if they run the same night. He's from Port Royal, but I've seen him win there, I think, twice. I think I've seen Dylan Cisney win 2 times, which I believe are the only 2 wins he's got at the track, but still. Dylan's actually pretty darn impressive at Lincoln, which is cool to see. He's somebody who's from Port Royal, runs Port Royal, goes down there and competes really well at Lincoln. So he was 2nd in flight 2. He was just behind Haferteep time-wise, but always something, interesting. I think that's something to follow for future reference. If you ever see Dylan Cisney at Lincoln, something to watch. Qualifying to heats. So we start with heat number 1. I got my notes, just in case you're wondering why I keep looking down here. So only really interesting thing that happened outside of the race for the lead, which was pretty exciting, between Justin Peck and Danny Dietrich, was Bradley Howard spun himself earlier into it, and then Danny Dietrich and Justin Peck ran with each other really well. Justin kind of was underwhelming last night at Williams Grove, so being more true to the form of how well he's been this year so far. I mean, he started running well at the beginning of the season. He knocked off wins a lot when he was in Pennsylvania, and then when he went to the All-Stars, he was very competitive. Kind of fallen off a little bit lately, but he's definitely getting that back. Danny Dietrich took the advantage and got the first heat race win, so he's 2 for 2 in heat races so far this week. Heat number 2, Tyler Esch blew the motor in that number 13, the one it's neon green, and then it's got the wrap that's yellow and purple. It's very vibrant to look at. The engine made a little bit of vibrant smoke too. So Tyler's a cool guy. He's from the area. He worked his way through micro sprints. I actually know the guy who bought his 600 off of him when Tyler moved up into, I think he went straight to 358s, but that was cool to have seen that. Not cool to see him blow the motor tonight. So he blew the motor in heat 2. Robbie Kendall won that heat race. Robbie Kendall came off of a win last week at the track, so definitely strong there recently. And Anthony Macri, I think it's worth noting, Anthony Macri, Alan Crimes, they come out of turn 4, and Macri kind of stays down, and Crimes just kind of gets him at the very end. So, and that was for the final transfer spot. So Crimes gets into the feature, Macri gets sent to the B right at the end. Exciting. Heat number 3, there was a big flip, 2 cars flipping. Tyler Ross in the 75, Steve Buckwalter in the 17. They got into each other, turn 3, crashed. They're both okay. It just, it happens sometimes in sprint cars. Chad Trout gave a good run to the eventual winner, but there wasn't much stopping Rico Abreu, so Rico's also 2 for 2 on heat races so far. Trout gave him a run. I think Trout was actually the guy who he might have actually passed last night at Williams Grove. My memory's beseeching me at 2 o'clock in the morning. Sorry. Last heat race of the night. Dewease just gone. He rolled off on the start really well. There was a caution. Justin Whittall spun out in the 67 and brought everybody back together, and Dewease just went again. So just classed him in Heat 4. No trouble for Lance. They had a C main because there were so many cars. So the C main only had 7 in it. Put some guys into the B main and just, keeps the B main field down a little bit. The 2 drivers that got out of that were Glendon Forsyth, one of the local guys who specifically runs at Lincoln, and Tucker Klossmeyer, who's been around the area lately and is running the Speedweek schedule, not from Pennsylvania. He actually raced midgets a while back with USAC, but moved over to the 410s, and here he is. So got to the B main. The B main was pretty exciting, pretty good racing, a lot of passing, a lot of action. Buddy Kofoid was one of the guys who made it interesting. He was kind of tearing it up, trying to get into that transfer, the 4 drivers that make it from the B into the A main, and he did do it. He just kind of pulled it in. He was the last transfer, and I mean, it was just a lot of really good racing, a lot of guys throughout the field. Jim Siegel was one of the guys he fought with. Siegel finished 3rd. There's good racing right there. So Ryan Smith won the B main. Dylan Cisney didn't get into the B main, or didn't get into the A main in his heat race, so all that speed he had in qualifying didn't transfer to the heat race, but he did get in through the B. Siegel, Kofoid, that was your 4. A lot of big names did not make the feature, I think, that were worth noting. Anthony Macri did not make the feature. He was the first car out. And then other guys, Tim Gladfelter is a local. Brandon Raymer didn't make it. Kyle Reinhardt didn't make it. Billy Dietrich didn't make it. So Billy, another one of those guys who's specific sort of to Lincoln for the weekly stuff, but some big names did not make the feature tonight. You move to the A main. Brent Marks and Robbie Kendall were the front row with the draw. Rico started strong, but Brent Marks just was gone. Lance Dewease did really well at the start too. He was catching up. He was making passes. He got up into 2nd, and they went for a little while. TJ Stutz wrecked in turn number 1, 7 laps into the race. I think it was on his own. Didn't really catch the replay on that one. But he put the Barshinger car in the wall, so tough break for TJ, pretty cool guy. Dylan Cisney and Ryan Smith had issues a few laps later. Another one of those deals where I didn't really catch what happened. I wasn't at the track and, watching back on flow. I love watching on flow, but didn't quite work out, so didn't see that one. And then after that, Brent just sailing again until they caught lap traffic. So after that restart from the Smith and Cisney debacle, Brent Marks rolling. Lance Dewease was getting strong. The lap traffic started playing into a factor, and it probably would have been pretty interesting to keep going had it stayed green. But Sam Haferteep, who was doing pretty well, actually rolled pretty nicely for a while. He kind of beamed himself. He spun and brought out a yellow, so that brought everybody back, bunched them up, got the lap cars out of the way. And then right at the very end, 2 laps to go, Lance Dewease running 2nd. He's trying to track down Brent Marks. Motor blows. And when I had been there for the World of Outlaws race in May, he blew his motor fairly early into the feature race. So kind of 2 for 2 for the Kreitz car blowing the engine at Lincoln this year so far. Lance, tough break. He could have, would have been championship leader easily for the Speedweek and would have maybe even been able to get 2 in a row. That would have been cool, but didn't work out for him. And then, so 2 laps, they run it. Brent Marks just can't touch him. Good guy, good driver. He almost won the World of Outlaws race that I went to in May too. So Brent Marks breaks through, he wins. Rico Abreu got 2nd. Freddie Raymer got 3rd. Danny Dietrich would have got 3rd, but something went wrong with the 48 car right as he was coming to the line. So just at the last second, Freddie Raymer took it from him. So that was tough for him, but Freddie Raymer got onto the podium. Brent, just happy for Brent. I think Brent's a great guy. I think he's cool. He's from the same county that I'm from, so is that guy. But yeah, Brent's running it, and he ran well, and I'm happy to see Brent come out. I think Brent's one of the strong contenders for the championship, and he's running the full week, and he's got the capabilities, he's got the car to do it. So hopefully he puts something together nice, and it should be nice to keep watching. He's definitely a guy to put at the top of the power rankings and stuff. So watch for Brent. But yeah, that's Lincoln. Sorry it's not as intense and exciting as the show I did for Williams Grove. I'm just trying to keep up this week. So going to the 6 Hours of the Glen rather tomorrow. So I'm not going to be attending BAPS. I wish I was. I like BAPS. I want to go to BAPS sometime. I've never been, but I'm actually not going to do a video on BAPS, so I'll probably get a little bit of secondhand information, and then on Monday I should be able to. I don't think I'm going to Lincoln, but they're running Lincoln again on Monday, so Lincoln BAPS Lincoln for Saturday into Monday, and when we get to that show, I'll kind of bring BAPS into that one a little bit, and then I'll talk about Lincoln. Not 100% sure on Grandview yet if I'm going to go or not. I'd really like to, but I'm not sure. I think my friend Trey might go, and if he goes, definitely I'll have some good content to hold on to. But yeah, and then after that, Port Royals, maybe Hagerstown. I wasn't thinking I was going to go to Hagerstown originally, but talked to Walt Dyer, and they're from more towards that area, so they're going to have a whole thing with the Brickmobile at Hagerstown, so I'm hard-pressed to not go. And then, yeah, the rest of the week's going to be cool. People to watch out for at BAPS, Brent Marks. I heard Lance Dewease is not running BAPS. I heard that from the people that I met on Friday. So maybe, I mean, that team's kind of an old team. That was the excuse I heard, was that they're an old team. You just can't get the group of older guys to do every single night. But I heard Dewease won't be there, so you can't count on Dewease. But Marks, Macri, maybe even Kyle Moody, he's a hometown kid there, so that would be cool. And I think Rico and Haferteep are also out of the Invaders, the guys to watch. So I don't have my power rankings updated at this moment in time. It's late, and I just wanted to get this video out. So I'm going to say at the top of my power rankings right now, definitely Brent Marks, and then Rico Abreu, Danny Dietrich, Freddie Raymer, Haferteep, even though he was doing really well that night. And I would, Cisney's in probably the low levels of the top 10 of people how people are doing right now. So yeah, that's the whole story of it. And if I had to pick a winner tomorrow night, I think the consistency and not having Dewease there would maybe point me to think that an Invader is going to break through, and I'm going to go with Rico. I kind of feel like Rico might win tomorrow night, but yeah, so tough break. Chase Deese didn't get anything out of Lincoln really tonight, but oh well. And on to BAPS. I'll talk to you guys about Lincoln and BAPS, not Sunday, but early Tuesday, some ridiculous hour probably. And yeah, hopefully you got what you wanted out of this video. I know it's not as exciting as the last one, but we're looking forward to getting some better ones in the future. So hopefully you guys get to watch BAPS, and if not, catch you for Lincoln. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time.